Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the chat room. God, I don't know what it's been like outside of Lagos, but inside Lagos, it has been a very wet day. Rain, floods, everything everywhere. So, this is a good chance for everybody to get warmed up, um, get nicely warmed up as we have a great session. This is what I call my part two because we're back with Reze Bonna. He's already online, so it's really good. I'm going to be getting him to join us very, very soon. Just want to get comfortable, do the introductions, and get straight into it because last time we didn't even have enough time to talk for everything. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Shola Yabadi, also known as Mr. Mahogany, and you're at Fashion Finance Africa, the chat room, which is a weekly interactive show brought to you by Fashion Finance Africa, which is the leading fashion platform in Africa. And of course, I'm your host. Fashion Finance is a platform that celebrates new and emerging fashion designers and creatives. We're all about celebrating fashionpreneurs and fashionistas from all over the world. The show will focus on everything fashion, beauty, entertainment. We'll be bringing you top fashionistas, celebrities, and superstars like we have today, Reze Bonna, from across Africa to talk to you, not even just Africa, outside of Africa, in fact, as well, to talk to you about everything around fashion photography, the truths, the untold truths about fashion photography. So we're going to get into a bit more of the gossipy kind of things, what works, what doesn't work, how it works for models, how it doesn't work for models, and so on and so forth. So please get your questions ready because this is your show. We definitely want you to please ask any questions that you have. Send them to us by comment section, and we will definitely be on. So we're going to bring on Reze Bonna now, our amazing guest.
Hello.
Reze, you look like somebody from Marvel Comics or the Avengers or what is it, Black Panther, Wakanda. Man, this is your fashion. You want to kill somebody. Well, I just thought, whoa, with the glasses, the gray hair. Seriously, I want to be your agent. I want to represent you. I want to be your agent because with you looking
I'm
like
here.
this, there are definitely movie roles lined up for you. Next to Idris Elba, Denzel Washington, they're definitely lined up for you. How are you?
Very, very well. And you?
I'm not bad, thank you. What's the weather like at your end? It's been really horrible here.
It's freezing. I mean, yesterday was expected to snow. I think it probably snowed in some areas. It's been like 2 degrees, 6 degrees. It's freezing tonight. That's why I'm having all of this on. It's freezing where I am. The heater is on, but it's not doing justice, man. It's freezing.
Are you serious? And here it's been raining. You know how Lagos is, the flooding. I mean,
I
anybody
heard
that wants
so.
to practice for the Olympics, they can just come and swim on any of our roads. They have an Olympic
Wow.
sized pool they can swim on. It's been terrible. Cars have been stuck everywhere. It's just been one of those things. Anyway, let's get down to business because people want to talk about you and to you, not me. Just as we're doing part two again, I still need to do an introduction so that everybody
Yes.
knows who you are. Reze Bonna is a trained architect, a multi-award winning photographer, big time. His work has been featured in several international publications, including Vogue Italia, GQ, Architectural Digest, etc. He's also been featured on CNN, Fashion One, Fashion TV, Spice TV, and even, yes, guys, even listen to this, the Grammy Museum as part of the African music section. So please, guys, welcome, big up, Reze Bonna.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me,
Ah,
sir.
please. For those of you that don't know, we had him about 2 weeks ago, and I don't know, we just had some serious internet or Instagram problems. I'm not even sure which one it was on that day, but it was really connecting, or it's my end that's having a problem.
I'm not sure.
Because it said pause due to poor connection, but I'm not sure if it's you or me. Can everybody hear me, guys? If you can hear myself and Reese, if let us know who's having the connection issues so that we can just be watching and trying to figure it out. But let's continue. Your work has been featured. Your work has been featured in a lot of international publications like Vogue Italia and so on and so forth. Just give us a little
Yes,
bit
sir.
of insight of how you began your career, and also how were you able to get yourself featured into those kind of places?
Oof. Well, first off, I wasn't trying to get featured. I think I was just working. Do your work with diligence, I think, and then the world will find you. So I started out in audio visuals and music production, artist representation, which I still do a little bit of now. So I did a bit of every other thing, graphics here, art here and there, so I would do all it took to survive, more or less. It was basically the hunger to survive and get through challenges as it came. And then I'm also from an artistic family. My dad is an artist. I mean, he studied art even in university, and then Ivy League schooled in the US, and all of that. And then my brother is a photographer. He's photographer internationally. He used to be an actor as well and all. And then so everyone, my other brother, my sisters and all. So it's been in the family, more or less. But I didn't start out trying to be a photographer. Both of my elder brothers actually went into photography before I did. But as time went on, it became a bit of a challenge to get what I wanted, because my brother who would do the photography was not in town. We're not in the same city. I mean, he's been in America and also at some point I had to pick it up and bite the bullet, especially like I was saying the last time. I had groups I was producing, and part of it was the image of the group. So there was a group we're working with that was the label was based in England, and they needed work out of Nigeria. So the image was important to make sure that what we put out there was of international quality. And then eventually, in looking for that, it was those times when it was a bit difficult, because album covers would be done by hand. So, like Lemmy Garioku and co, who would sketch. But now we needed to go into graphics. So take the pictures and then move it on to the guys who would do the graphics. And at that point, people didn't really understand Photoshop and graphics, and went around and eventually found a place where they didn't really know it, but they were willing, they had the right spirit. So what we did was sit with them, get them to install the software. They were into 3D animations and all, the early guys then, the late Jolly Akina and co. So sat with them and then gradually led them through what we wanted. And then we liked it. We did the work, did the album covers, did the t-shirts and all. And from there, I decided, look, I need to pick this thing up so I can at least produce the images I want and then do the graphics. I ended up working there as well, and then managing the studios there. And so that's where it started from. And then at some point, my wife and I sat down and said, let's diversify a bit more. What do we want to do? So I'd do photography, she'll do makeup. So that teamwork also helped as well, because then she'll do the makeup for the models, and then I would do the photo shoot, and here we are.
So you've kind of been, like we said, we've been featured in GQ, you've been featured in Vogue Italia. So how does that work for a fashion photographer? Is it that they come to you and they commission you, or is it that they see your work and then they commission you, or is it that they see your work and say, we want to put it into the magazine? How does it actually work that you can get it? Because I mean, that's every photographer's dream and every model's dream, to be in Vogue or GQ or one of these major magazines. So talk us through that side of things.
It works both ways. For the average photographer, what I would say, because aside from just waiting for things to happen or to be noticed, because now it's a little bit easier, but at the same time, it could be difficult. And I'll explain what I mean. In those days, you
Okay.
didn't really have social media like you do now. So it was a bit more difficult, and there were gatekeepers. So you would have to get your work across to the gatekeepers or get them to notice your work. And some of them would. I mean, if there's a buzz around what you're doing and you're in the right circles and as it goes on. But now it's easier because from your sitting room, you can sit down and tag them. And on the lucky days, they will find the tag or they will see the tag. But the thing is, when they do, what do they see? Does it strike them? So I would say for the average photographer who is starting out and who thinks this is where I want to go, this is what you need to do. First of all, learn photography, study to show yourself approved, a workman that need not be ashamed. Know the rules of what you're doing, know why you're doing it, know the parameters. When you understand that enough, then you can start stretching it. Don't start stretching before you even understand what you're doing. So the knowledge is important. That's one. Then practice, practice, practice. Get models. If you can't afford to pay them, there are always fresh models who also need images for their portfolio, who also want to practice what to do, how to pose and all. So work in collaboration with them and other creatives, stylists, makeup artists, the hair team and all of that. You will find people who want to do that. And then we used to call it TFCD or TFP. You give your time for CD. So you all come together, collaborate, and then at the end of the day, we all get CDs of our works and we build our portfolio. Do that, and then as well research fashion magazines as well, because you need to understand that there is different styles. There are different styles with different magazines. If you want to shoot for Vogue or with Vogue, you need to understand their ethos, understand what they're about, and understand their style. If you want to shoot for ID, go and study ID. If you want to go and shoot for another magazine, go and study another style. If you want to shoot for True Love, understand True Love. Because when you do, and you've been able to do that, then you can reach out to them and send your material and say, hey, this is me, this is what I do. If it's not their style at that point, you lose the opportunity. So that's why you need to understand and study them as well. Reach out, develop your style, make sure it's unique, let people know that you are different in a certain way. Because if you're doing the run-of-the-mill thing, then why would they want to work with you? Especially if you're far away and there are people who are closer who do the same thing. And like I say, don't just find mentors, but don't just take their works and copy it verbatim. If you're trying to copy my work today, you're living in my past. By the time you get to where I am now, I have moved on to my future, and then you're way behind. But understand what I do, understand what he does, and then you aim for something different or give it a fresh approach. So make sure what you're doing is fresh and is different rather than just copy. Because now we have a lot of copycats. People just want to copy. Oh, what's the latest style? What camera are you using? Tell me how you shot this. How did you pose to do this? So if I stay this way, then you stay that way. You're not going to get the same thing, man, because our eyes are different. Develop your style. Don't force over gear. A lot of people think it's gear. Oh, his camera is amazing, so it will give you good pictures. That's not the case. If my camera is amazing, it's not going to edit. It's not going to make you look smooth, because if that camera is actually good and the lens is good, the glass, then it's going to show all the pimples and all the flaws. That's the truth. So take what you have and practice with it. And then as you grow, then you grow into getting better gear, because photography is also expensive. People find out that they end up spending a lot of money on cameras, lenses, bags, this and that and that. And they haven't even earned anything yet, Then for some as well, you could also, if you get that good, get an agent, and then reach out. But make sure that whatever you're showing has character, it has quality, and then you can push it out. So in a nutshell, I've basically summarized the steps to take.
Okay. So as a fashion photographer, you work with a lot of models.
Yes, sir.
A number of other models from different parts of Africa that are on here, as well as the photographer.
Um, I must say, first of all, I want to say it's getting better, but the main challenges initially were that, yes, I did. I got the question. What are the challenges we face, especially with African models? Um, in Africa, we do not take risks. We don't take calculated risks. We also do not study enough. We want to depend on help and luck and supernatural to push us ahead rather than do our homework. And my question to models would be, why would they want to sign you and move you all the way to the West if you're not better than the models they have in the West already? Why would they want to spend so much to take a risk with you? And when they finally get you there, you then tell them, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that because my people said this, or I'm afraid to do that, or I don't want to try this. You would have models who will say, oh, sign me. If you take me, I will be the best. And that's what used to happen before. You know, oh, I'll be the best. I'll be blah, 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 blah. And incidentally, for African models, and then I would say even the ones from Nigeria, they would have the biggest dreams. Oh, I'm the next Naomi. I'm the next this and that and that. Because we believe in the positive and the faith and all of that and trust and belief. But when it comes to performance, we are lacking. And that's the problem. So it becomes a hypocritical approach. When you get there, then you are tired. And for those who lack discipline, then they want you to come do a shoot and you're thinking, oh, but my boyfriend has a party. And the so-called, you know, and the so-called boyfriend could also be such that he says, how much are they paying you? Look, come to the party, I'll give you more. And the lady, the model goes for the money and forgets that there's a career ahead. And what you had with the others was longevity because they took their careers seriously. And that's why you would see the Alec Works would stay there for long and the Naomis will be there forever. But the few Nigerians. Hello? Hello? If you guys can see me, please let me know. I'm not sure if the network is okay. Hello?
Right, I can still see things moving. Sorry, guys. This is an international connection that we're doing with South Africa. I don't know whether the rain, the weather, and all the things that we got going on is causing us a little bit of problem. Okay, you guys can still hear me. Thank you, Cooksy88, for letting me know that you can still hear me. Reese is going to join us again. These were the same problems we're having 2 weeks ago. Somebody says we can't see you, but we can still hear you. Oh, we can still hear Reese. So they could.
Okay, here I am.
They said they
So
couldn't
is it
see me,
fine
but
now?
they could hear you. I could see
Oh,
you,
okay.
but it was paused. I have no idea what's going on.
Yes.
Guys, those of you that are watching, please let us know what's happening because we need your insight as to what's happening. Yeah.
It's the network. Is it fine now?
Well, I don't know whether they're hearing me, hearing you, seeing you, not seeing you. We don't really know what's happening. I'm waiting for some people to give us feedback. But just continue and let's try and see what we can do here. You were talking about
Okay.
models and the challenges you face with African models.
Yes. So the main thing is they're limited in their heads. They don't really understand what they're getting into. For most people, I think it's more the drive and the desire to travel abroad. That's the driving force. So would rather do anything that gets us out of the country, because everyone believes once you get there, then it's all set up. It's all, your life is made. They forget that, as every other thing in life, it's hard work. It's even harder because now you don't have a support system. You probably earn more, but you're going to be paying more tax. And where you're coming from back home, you don't really pay as much tax. Things are organized, there's a system, there is an industry, and you have to play according to the rules of the game. If you're going to be a soldier, you must play according to the rules of engagement. You don't get there and then want to change the industry to your own needs and desires. That's the problem. So that's one of the challenges the models have, and they need to understand it's hard work. So train yourself to be hardworking back home. And when you get there to wherever you're going, it won't be a problem. Also, discipline yourself to know that it's an industry and there's a system that has gotten you from where you're coming from, which could be from your home, and there's an agent or a mother agent that has walked you through and gotten you your passport and helped you with finances and funding to get there. And there's an agency waiting for you as well to take you and groom you so you can work. But then halfway through, you're thinking, oh, I'm tired of all this. After all, I've gotten abroad. And that was my main aim. And I'm happy. And then I just want to post a few pictures and say I'm slaying, blah, blah, blah. And you forget that it is hard work. And forget that the opportunities that came your way could have gone to any other person. And it's a privilege to be there. That's the discipline that our people lack, and that's a bit of a challenge. So even though we want to say Black Lives Matter and we want to say Black models are not given opportunities, but when you do get the opportunity, what do you do with it? Why will I want to take you onto a set and it's going to cost me $200,000 to get the photographer, the hairstylist, the makeup artist, the whole team, creative director, go to a location, maybe probably hire a jet, and you're going to strap you onto that jet and do the shoot. And you promised me you could do it. You guaranteed you could do it, even though I didn't see it in your portfolio. And then on the day of the set, when it's time to shoot, you say, I'm scared, I can't do it. Or my people said this and that, and you back out. You have cost so much money to the agency, to the client. The agency is losing money. So they would rather go with the people that they trust, who they know will perform. And that's why you won't get it. Then you will go back saying they have their favorites. Why won't they have their favorites? It's the people that deliver, because it's an industry. It's not a favor. So those were the challenges we would face. But for the others, they're willing to take risks. They practice. They also invest in themselves. So when they get there, they're taking acting classes. They pay for acting classes. They take swimming classes. They learn to walk. They learn to pose. They also fund their portfolios and do all of that. And at the end of the day, when you call them, it shows, man, because your preparation shows. Practice makes permanent. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Yes, yes, yes. True, true. I agree. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Um, we
I
can
think it
hear.
looks better now. I can see
Yeah.
you now, and I
Okay.
can hear you.
All right. Go ahead.
What was the question again? Are
Right.
African models getting better opportunities, and are
So
they
my
using them?
Yeah, so my question was this now. A lot of
Yes,
African models are getting signed up to
yes,
um, agencies around the world. IMG,
yes,
Select, Brave, so many models in different parts of the world. It's happening now.
yes,
So
yes,
in terms of fashion photography, you got people like Mayo and Nichols that are doing amazing jobs, and there's other models, African models out there that are new. They're not at the Alec
yes,
Weck standard or at the Naomi standard. Would you say that
yes.
there are far more opportunities now for African models? And are African models exploiting these opportunities properly? Or what do you feel African models in particular need to be done? And particularly around the fashion space, photography space. And why I'm saying that now is that most models in Africa tend to feel that modeling is runway. That's that's
Mm,
all they have in their head. It is
yeah,
runway. You
yeah,
know, I know that people that really make money, you will never even see them on the runway. The people that are
true.
making silly money are not on the
Yes,
runway. So
true,
I
true.
just I want you to tie it into the fashion photography space. So that's commercial modeling, editorials, magazines, all of that. Not too much the runway stuff.
There are more opportunities now. It's still not enough. It can be better. But what I'd like to see is that we also take them and run with them with our uniqueness.
Hmm.
That's what I would like to say.
What do you mean our
In,
uniqueness?
we are different. We're not white. For instance, we have our styles, we have our creativity. We can express that differently. So I'm saying we can take them and run with it. And I'll expatiate a bit further. Um, Modeling in itself now, like you said, most people think it's runway. So once I'm doing the runway high fashion, then that's it. No, there's so much more. There's editorials, there's high fashion, there are catalog models. There are some girls who are doing excellently with catalogs, and that's what they're doing. There's a girl with Isis, for instance. I know she's doing catalogs like every day, back to back to back. There's street fashion,
Hmm.
street style. So you're talking about how people combine their clothes and how they express themselves differently. And that has opened up a whole new style, even for those who you would term as Instagram models now, but now they'll take street style. I know a girl that I worked with, and from the beginning, I told her you won't be able to do high fashion because she was 5'3".
Wow.
And she had that passion and she went on and pushed and all. And I said to her, find your niche, you can. And it was a bit of a struggle, but eventually she understood because she thought I was being slow. She would end up going, at some point, she went somewhere else. Another photographer took her. He didn't really understand what it was about, and he just wanted to shoot because he had seen us put images and he liked them. And
Hmm.
that happens. She shoots,
Right.
shoots, shoots. Oh, this girl is bold. She's daring. Let me work with her. And he
Hmm.
called her in. The mistake was he paired her with a guy who was 6'3". She's 5'3". He's 6'3". You put them together exactly. That basically, and what I had been doing, for instance, knowing that this girl was not that tall, is that I would adjust my angle
Okay.
and I would watch what I'm doing with her props. And
Hmm.
even if I was going to shoot her with a tall guy, I would prop her up a bit. You know, there are little tricks and
Yes.
things you can do. He just shot them like that, hugging. It looked like child abuse. That killed it. That killed it for her then. And then I called her back and I said, you see, I know you have the passion. I know you're working at, but I've said to you, this isn't your terrain. This is what you need to do.
Mm.
And then she gradually took it. As I speak to you now, she's one of the main fashionistas in Nigeria, Lady Vodka,
Oh, Lady Vodka.
doing
Yes, I
very,
know her.
yes, Muse. That, because then she found herself, she found her expression, took the clothes. Now she does street style. She's
Yes,
still
and she's
modeling
doing
in her
very
own
well.
way. Good. So it's not just runway. And then there's alternative fashion as well,
Hmm.
which is like the hipsters or the 70s, the 80s, the grungy, the gothic, the hip hop, all of that. That's still fashion. And that has come into play, and you see Kanye doing a bit of that now, and that has gradually gotten into mainstream. There's beauty and editorial. So some girls aren't tall, but they have the face. Such people, you would use them for beauty editorials and they'll do very well with it. And they're still in fashion, they're still modeling. There are lookbooks. Some girls are good with lookbooks. Some guys are good with lookbooks. Put them on the runway, they don't look as good. You know, so it's all of that. Some are just good with commercials and they make more money than those on the runway. But everyone wants to be on the ramp and do 2 shows in this fashion week and 10 shows in this fashion week. And they're earning so little because it costs them so much to fly there.
Yeah.
And then they come back and say, my agent ate my money. They spent my money. They didn't pay me. How much did the agent get for it, for goodness sake? How much is the agency making, you know, to pay their bills, pay their rent, pay their staff, travel, fly you to places? You know, people don't think that this is a business, but it is.
It is, yeah.
So there are more opportunities. Some people know, some are good with social media. I mean, you and I know there are castings now. They ask you what your social media following is like.
Yeah.
They want to see that you can engage, you have the personality.
They
want to see that you're not stuck up. You don't come there feeling proud and saying, oh, I'm bigger and better than these models. Because when you do, you're looking older and you look, you know, you engage less. And if I was a designer and I put my clothes on you, then you're going to put it in a corner and only a few people will see it. But the girl who is boisterous, the guy who is mixing around, who is engaging, gets to display the clothing more. So the next time I want to put my clothes on someone, I'll give it to the one who engages, who has interaction. So
because everything
all of that
nowadays
comes
is a
into
marketing opportunity, and I think that's what people need to understand. And that's also part of the reason why going to somebody like you to take pictures is very important, because like you said, you understood angles. You changed this person's life around from being somebody ordinary to now becoming a celebrity who is making a lot of money as an influencer. Do you understand? So she's found her lane. She models fashion clothes. She's all over the place. I mean, we all know her about that. So I think, like House of Ra said, is about finding your lane. Do you understand? The other thing House of Ra said as well is that fashion weeks, and this is a fact, guys, fashion weeks are done twice a year.
True.
Editorials and magazines are done 24/7. Every day, somebody's doing a shoot for one magazine or one web page or one something or the other. So, you know, people that always just want to do runway, you need to think about it. But what I also wanted to ask you that you're very versatile in what you do. Like you said, you worked in music, you're a photographer, and you do different types of photography. I mean, we know how many people fly you around the world just to come and shoot fashion weeks. So you shot editorials, you shot fashion weeks in Africa, you shot them abroad. So what would you say are the differences from a fashion photography perspective between working in Africa or on African shows and when you work on British, American shows or editorials or clients? What are the differences? You know, what do you see, and what are the sort of things that we, particularly as Africans, can learn? Because that's what we want to get from you. What can we learn from your experience? Sorry, excuse me.
Several things. Dignity in labor. If you're a photographer, own it, understand it, be proud of it, do your work, and realize it's hard work. It's not glamorous. You're not there as a celebrity. It's not about you. In fact, you're almost the least important person there, because they need to see the image and the clothing and the model and less of the photographer. It's not about who shot the picture. It's about the image itself. In international fashion weeks, it's harder because it's not one venue. You have people who are running from this location to the next one, and it's not one venue, guys.
You're fighting for space. You're carrying your tell them.
You're carrying your gear, you're fighting for space, you're hopping the train, you're running from location to location, you're sweating. You have a ladder sometimes, beyond just your kit and all. You actually have a ladder, so that if the place is full, you climb above every other person and you get the shot. And it doesn't matter if you're shooting for Vogue or GQ or whatever. It's nothing about that. you know, but back home we're a bit more lax because we want them to keep space for us and then we want to come and sit down. I
Yes.
mean, there are cases where we're shooting and like I said, I get distracted because you're explaining to a photographer you cannot shoot ramp with flash, and he doesn't understand why, and he feels you're trying to lord it over him rather than learn. Or sometimes you're hearing comments from photographers saying, what is she wearing? Look at her. Oh, she's naked. She's this and that. Photographers on the ramp during a show. When you're doing that, when do you have time to think about your exposure, your speed, the details, and all of that? And so it's a bit of a difference. I'm not saying we're not good. Let me be honest with you. We're doing fantastic within the content we have. The ones who have done very well. But the problem is they still need to understand the rules of the game. Who is your client? Who are you shooting for? Same image, model with clothes. Who is the client? Is it the model that is the client? Then you're shooting to express the model. Is it the clothing? Then it's for the fashion designer. Is it the makeup? Then is the makeup artist that is your client, or is it the creative director? Is it the stylist? So it's the whole combination that is your client. Is it the agency? Even for the agencies, different agencies have different styles. Some agencies want it a bit more natural. Some want it grungy. Some want natural light. Some want studio lighting. So if I'm thinking of myself and I just want perfect images and I smoothen it out, Photoshop all the grains out and all, they won't book the model because they don't know if the skin actually has scars or
Right.
stretch marks. And I've taken those details out. And then you take a book, and I see that a lot too. You come with a book and you think it's glamorous pictures. No, those should be for dream shoots, weddings, pre-wedding shoots, and all of that, and not fashion photography. So we need discipline to specialize in the areas we want to go into. And now we're talking fashion. If it's food, learn the rules about food. Find out what temperature you want to shoot to. Find out the little tricks of the trade. How do you want to oil the chicken so it looks good? How do you want to keep the milk? If it's cornflakes you're shooting, how do you want to keep the cornflakes without getting soggy? And you're going to take several takes. Otherwise, you're going to make your client spend more money.
That's
You
right.
know, so there are different rules you need to understand. And it's not just pick a camera, guy with cam. I want to shoot. Where's the girl? Let's shoot. Let's do this. You know, and the next thing, you're misbehaving because you don't know what to do. And then realize that your client has spent so much money to come there. Their time is of the essence. You cannot waste their time thinking of what next to do. You must have planned it ahead so that whatever the challenge is, you know what next to do and how to redeem the time.
So House of Ra says that she would like you to please talk about the attitude and conversation models and photographers should have with creative directors and or designers.
Okay, I'll start with creative directors. The creative director is in charge of the shoot. So if you engage me for a shoot and I'm not the creative director, then I have to listen to the person that you trust their vision for it. We can work hand in hand. I can make suggestions, but I have to listen to the creative director. I cannot let my ego begin to affect the output of what you brought me there for. So at that point, attitude does not come into play. We all came to work for one person. We have one boss, and that's the designer. So we need to bear that in mind as well. If it's with the designer and you have agreed to take on that job, do your best, make it easy for the designer. Don't stress them out because egos flare when it comes to the creatives. Everyone wants to prove how good they are. They've trusted you enough to get you on set. Behave yourself because it's not about you, it's about the final image. We're into image making. Show business is what we show that matters, you know, so we have to think about that. And I think basically that's the answer.
But
But
how do
our
you
job is
manage
to make
space?
it
Let me ask
easy.
you a question on that one. How
Yes,
do you
sir. Yes,
manage,
sir.
because I've been at shoots where literally I've either wanted to walk a model off my set or
Yes.
strangle them or drown them, where you have a model, they've been called in to do a shoot, and the
Yes.
model says one of two things. Either I don't like the dress, or I don't
Hmm.
like the makeup, or they
Yes.
say, Mr. Photographer, please, you can only shoot me on my right side because that's my best side. And I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. They're paid to do a job. How do you as a photographer, because let's imagine you're both creative director and you're the photographer. How do you
Yes.
manage that? Because like you said, a client may have paid 200,000 to
Yes, sir.
dollars or whatever to do a shoot. So you can't always just say, "Oh yeah, go home. I'm replacing you." What do you do, and what can you tell models about managing that kind of attitude as well?
As a photographer, you're also a psychologist. You need to understand the psyche of everyone working there and realize that if that job fails, you have failed. The model has their responsibility. People don't realize that's why agencies put models under development for the first 1 or 2 years. So you train them, you get them to understand what they're there to do. They cannot come late. They represent an organization behind them. So when they show up, the moment they get there, that model becomes a mannequin,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you are booked because you are a mannequin. It's not about you per se, it's about the clothing you want to express. And with a mannequin, if you move the hand this way, it stays this way. You move it this way, it stays that way. But it's a mannequin with personality, right? So that's on the side you need to deal with. Then the photographer also understands that you are a hired hand. You are there to shoot and all. Now, if that works, if there's a part of it that has a challenge, sometimes it might not even be that the model is trying to be beachy, for instance. The model might be having cramps. The model might not be feeling too good.
Mm-hmm.
Then what you need to do is pull them aside and speak to them, get them to understand what is at stake, get them to understand the benefits even to them, and
Mm-hmm.
try and see if you can work with them as well. Sometimes you have to even, if you have to massage their ego, then do it. If you have to, I agree that there's a point it gets to, you cut the shoot off, you stop it. But the thing is, if you do, it's going to cost much more to bring everyone back because they're probably paying for studio rentals. They have had to transport equipment there. They've had to bring the makeup artist and everyone. So rather than cancel it, let me give you a story.
Mm-hmm.
Alec Weck. The image that made Alec Weck was, it was actually a nude where she's standing and she has like radishes on her hair and then she's wearing shoes. That was the image that made Alec Weck's career. That shoot originally was meant to be an editorial. There
Okay.
were clothes, there was everything. But for some reason, you know how the industry used to be before where they didn't really pay attention to black models,
Yes.
And so for instance, the makeup artist wouldn't have the right shade of foundation. The designer won't have the right clothing and blah, blah, blah. But what it was that the clothes did not fit. And they tried everything and it didn't work. The only thing that could fit was a pair of shoes, and it wasn't exactly her size because her toes were kind of slipping out of the front. And the photographer looked at it and said, okay, you know what? It's either we cancel or we do something different. And he called Alec to the side and said, are you going to trust me? I trust you. I know you want this, but if you can trust me, let's do something epic. And she said to him, you're in charge. I'll take your word for it. And he said to her, okay, the clothes don't work. Take off the clothes. And she did. Stand this way, do this, let's shoot. And that was the image that made her career till date. This story was from her mouth. So it took trusting someone else and realizing that this person knows more than I do. It's not about me. It's teamwork. The easiest shoots I've had are with the supermodels. People think otherwise. People think, oh, when you shoot with a Naomi or Janice Dickinson is known as a difficult person
Yep.
outside.
Yep.
One of my easiest shoots has been Janice Dickinson. Because the moment she said she's going to do it and she said yes, that was it. It was done. She's just like, okay, do it. And in a few minutes, we're done. That's expertise. We didn't have to waste time. She didn't waste my time. I didn't waste hers. But imagine if the ego thing comes in, we'll waste our time. That's that's actually what made the supermodels. They know what works. They know how to make your work easy. They produce results and they're gone. And then they keep booking them. So even as photographers, we end up having muses. Why do we have muses? They understand you. The moment you turn, they understand what you're
Yes.
doing. They give you what you want, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't waste time. But the advantage for them is when opportunities come to shoot, you recommend them first,
That's right.
because it's easier to work with people you know than new hands that you have to then start studying and understanding and training and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. And so for the models as well, it helps their career. There's a model that in Nigeria, she had challenges. The main agencies had said no to her because she didn't have the right look. She wasn't really fitting. She wasn't tall enough. She was 5'8.5", heading to 5'9", but there were taller models and all.
Mm-hmm.
And she approached me and said, please, I'd like to do this. If you can mentor me, train me, blah, blah, blah. And even for me, I kind of struggled. But a few words she said, I knew she was determined. So what I did was give her all the difficult tests that would discourage her. But she kept on. For every test, she'll do it. For everyone, she'll do it. And at some point, I said, I'm going to do this. I took that on as a challenge. As I speak to you, she's international. She's out of the country. She works in different continents. She moves around now. But one of the things she did was, besides me, when the opportunities came, she performed.
Right.
So different photographers, white guys, black guys, agencies loved her because
Mm-hmm.
when she's on your set, you won't have a dull moment. And she proved her worth. And today, this has nothing to do with Reze. It's also her determination and her performance.
Wow. Well, guys that are listening here, this is something you need to learn from. We've just got a couple more questions because we're coming close to our finishing time. God, it's hard to believe we've already done nearly an hour. But people always like to talk about money, all right? And they get very
Yes.
upset with me when we have experts like you and I don't bring money into it, because a lot of people don't really understand what is involved, either the expenses, what it takes to do shoots, to book in top models, get locations, so much more. So
Yes.
a lot of creatives always complain about money. How
Mm-hmm.
do you put a price to your services and your creativity? So in other words, what advice can you give to photographers and possibly even freelance models about how do they put a price to the services that they're offering?
Okay, the first thing they need to do is believe in themselves. Then they need to study. They need to prepare themselves. And then they need to invest in themselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. And then aside investing in yourself, you have to pay your dues. Go and understudy others. Spend time. You see, the in the Bible where you would have the man who wants to marry and he'll go and serve for 7 years. It's not a joke, and he comes out and it's not even the right person, then he goes back again. You need to do that work. What it does for you is that you learn through life situations and you learn and you get better. So, for instance, I'm an architect. In my field, it's called the practice of architecture. Even though you've gone to school for 6-7 years, not just the 4-year course, but you still go and practice because you still do not know anything till you start learning.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with medicine, the practice of medicine, law, the practice of law, and then you go and serve. So you have to do all of that first. And in doing that, you find your uniqueness. And then
Okay.
your expertise also comes in as well. I say to the models sometimes that unfortunately, it's almost a shame that the platforms that were there for models that were there before.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, someone said to me in the years back in Lagos, for instance, you knew models by what they did. So you would know a Titi Fanta because she was the girl, the Fanta girl, or
Mm-hmm.
something else who did Sprite and all of that. Those platforms have been taken by comedians, have been
Yes.
taken by musicians, have been
YouTube,
taken
yeah.
by actors because they have invested in themselves, they believed in themselves, and they pushed and they went to studio and paid for studio time and all. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The group I spoke about that we're working with, in the studio where we were working, I had there was another producer called OJB, the late OJB. So some of the work was done in my studio, my music studio then. The rest was done in OJB's studio. And Paul Play was also one of the producers and all. Now, one of the guys in that studio who would come and clean and make sure and prepare the studio before the session when OJB would come in was some guy who said to them, guys, take me on. If you take me into your group, I'm going to be a star. I know I have what it takes. And they said to him, we're already complete. There are 4 of us, we're signed, blah, blah, blah. And he kept saying, I have what it takes. Years later, this guy comes back, and then I get a call to come produce someone else and blah, blah, blah. Let me explain what it is. At the end of the day, that guy, that cleaner in that studio was the band.
Are you serious?
True story. I'm not kidding. In Surulere, Baja Street, you know, that was the band. They have invested in themselves. They have pushed, they have toiled, they have labored, and they've upped their game. The models need to do that. So as a model, don't wait for photographers to call you. Also sit down and organize shoots for yourself. Put the clothing together, speak to designers. Take yourself as a brand, invest in yourself and package yourself and make yourself different. And as that happens, people will see you, and then that's how you begin to raise your price as well, because then it's not just give me money, it's in performance as well. So I don't know if I've answered, even with photographers as well. You know, if you're not unique, then why do you want to come and why do you want to charge me A, B, C, D, E? Of course, we have an industry where people want to negotiate and people want to pay you less and all of that, but you also have to do your work. So when you say no, it's no. I'm happy sitting back, and then when you call me, I come do the one thing I can and I'm gone. Because when I'm gone, that time I'm waiting, I'm using that to practice and train and prepare myself for the next time as well, rather than just busy everywhere and achieving nothing. So you have to also, you know, make yourself unique, study and get yourself better, and then you can up the game. Take risks at first. With the initial ones, it's free, and then before you know it, you don't want to have an opportunity where someone is paying you and you mess up the shoot. So you start little and then you build gradually.
So like Alicia Bonna says, you are paid or employed by your years of experience. I think I definitely like that.
She's right.
Definitely. In terms of rounding up, what would you just like to say to the people that are listening? Any advice, any you just want to say, any that you just want to talk about? Forget my questions, just what you want to say to them in these last few minutes that we have.
Okay, I'd like to say that the opportunity is there now. You see what's happening worldwide. First of all, we're all at home. It can be a downer, but it's an opportunity. So use that to study and learn all you can. Secondly, when the time comes, bring out something unique. Thirdly, even with the Black Lives Matter movement and all, then the spotlight is going to turn to us as well. What do we have to give? What are we going to put through? You know, at the end of the day, if we're not performing, then at that point, it won't be that the opportunity did not come. Our preparation has to meet the opportunity. We must also be ready. And then there's going to be a lot more coming. People cannot do live shows now, but they're going to be shooting because everyone is online. There's going to be catalogs out there. They will need your services as a photographer, as a model, you know, as a stylist. So what are you doing with the time you have now? How do we prepare ourselves so that our uniqueness will show when the time comes, rather than crying and begging for things that aren't ours, you know? Yeah, the issue of fabric now, everyone is shouting this brand, that brand, African print. It's not even ours. What are we doing with it? And that has to do with the designer as well. What are we doing with it? Because when they come and take it, Stella McCartney will take that same fabric and sell it for £1,650.
That's right.
What are we doing? When you take it, there's something my friend David does. He takes the clothes, he turns it upside down, looks at the sewing. What have you done behind? Have you cut corners? So that's the same thing with us. We have the opportunity. The spotlight is gradually coming because we're crying for it. But when it comes, are we going to waste it? Some countries in Africa have earned so much money, have done so little with it. We've rather trusted on the religious and the superstitious and tried to push us. And now that's not working. And the others have invested in human capital. They've invested in intelligence, and now they can survive because even in all of this, I was looking at the Dubai airport. All the seats now, have perspex shades in between them. They're prepared for the market, and we're sitting back. We haven't even improved our healthcare. We haven't improved aviation and all of that. So we need to take risks. We need to study. We need to understand. We need to push the boundaries, but we also need to understand what the limits are. Calculate the risk. Don't just go and bungee jump. Calculate it. Learn what length of rope you need. Find out, okay, even with that, how long, what's the elasticity of the rope? How is it going to extend? Then
Yes.
add your own length to it. Then you take off the distance. So you know that when you jump and it expands, you're not going to hit your head on the ground. So it's called a calculated risk. Calculate it,
Yes.
then take the risk. Don't just go and jump and say, I have faith, I believe, and you jump. You will kill yourself and crash.
Your head got scattered. No, I mean, you're so right in everything that you said. I mean, a lot of people, there's some people that are taking advantage of this COVID-19 and are making money and will make money. And then there are
Yes,
others
sir.
that are just sitting back and are crying and moaning and whatever. Like you said, we've been doing it, Fashion Finance, Mahogany, you've been doing it, David's been doing it. We've all been trying to reinvent ourselves, thinking what we can do, develop our websites, reach out to other people. What are the things that we can do? How can we encompass technology? 6 months ago, I would not have been doing an IG, and I don't think you would have had the time to do it either. Do you understand? Because that was
Yes,
not how
true,
it is.
true,
Now
true.
we're out there, we're promoting ourselves, we're doing all these sort of things. Fashion photography, everybody, is a massive industry. And I'm going to keep repeating it. Those of you that keep just trying to concentrate on runway, you are making a major mistake. If you've got the face, if you photograph well, take a look at editorials, commercials, magazines, fashion photography, lookbooks. There's so many other types of things that you can do. Please take advantage of it. For the fashion photographers, learn your business. Like Reze said, learn your business, study, create your own uniqueness, and be the best you can be. If they say come for a shoot at 8 o'clock, please be there by 7:30. Don't get there at 8:30, at 9 o'clock.
True,
So these are all
true,
the things.
true, true.
Change what you do. Reed, it's been a thank you for coming on board, because this is the second time. Thumbs up, hearts, claps, everything you can to Reed, because he's come back twice now because we had a big problem with internet the last time. Please show your appreciation to him. We love him great. I mean, he's a son of the soil, both of Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya. He's a son of the soil in every country he goes to. He's known around the whole of Africa. He's a multi-award winning photographer. Please thank him up. Big ups. Reese, thank you for everything. Love you loads. Give your wife a big hug for me. She's the
Will
best,
do.
honestly.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for coming on board, man. Take care now.